Hey guys, welcome to another session of FFBE Global News. It is finally here after multiple videos, news videos that I've made where I said I wouldn't be pulling on a banner, I wouldn't be pulling on this banner, and the reasons why. One of the big reasons is that CG Nichol was coming and he is meta breaking. Alright guys, so he is finally here after much speculation on our Discord channel. Yesterday a lot of our guys were saying that, you know, it has to be CG Nichol, he's the only time that fits. By now we have this Just Cause 3 collab confirmation that's coming next week. Alright, so next week, that means story event has to fit in this week for the timeline to work. So we have it, guys. We have CG Nichol. So Maritime Strategist Nichol is his name. CG Nichol for short, just because that is what we've known him by. Many of you guys on YouTube have been asking, you know, should I pull for CG Nichol? Should I wait for CG Nichol? My answer is like yes. A lot of you guys are like free to play, so doing like the cloud step up, doing all these banners that we've seen in the past month or so. You guys have been asking, should I be saving? And my answer is always yes. It's almost like never no. I don't think there's no. I actually never said that. Never said no. Now there's even more incentive, guys, to pull on this. So as you guys know, CG Lid is the best breaker in the game so far with her LB, and she'll still remain the strongest breakers even at 7-star meta. The reason why I didn't pull for that, as I said before, was because that the banner she was on wasn't that great. Now CG Nichol, even if you don't want to pull for the unit, the banner is full of awesome stuff. So instead of getting to CG Nichol right away, as I usually do, I start from top all the way to the bottom. I'm actually gonna save CG Nichol to the end, alright? Because that's how excited I am for him. As some of you guys know, if you guys follow me on YouTube, you would see that I use CG Nichol on JP in his 6-star form with a full team of 7-star, and he holds his own. That's how good he is. Recently got him to a 7-star form, but we can talk about that maybe in a future video. I want to stick to the 6-star for those who are new or those who are just global players only. So let's start from the bottom, and we'll talk about why this banner is good. So first off is, as you guys saw at the very top there, you have Mughals. So every pull you make, you get a Mughal. Whether that be a specific unit Mughal, like a 5% Mughal, or you might have a lower chance of getting a 5% global Mughal, or even, I think even a rare opportunity to get a 10% Mughal. Yes, so as you can see there, the blue star Mughals are 5%, the silver star Mughals are specific TMR Mughals, and then the gold ones are your 10% global ones. So if you see a rainbow, so if you're pulling tickets, right? If you're pulling tickets, if you see a rainbow at the very end there as your second unit, that means you got a 10%. Alright, so let's start from Chari. So Chari here is refeatured. She was here before. She has a 6-star awakening, which we'll talk about that later. But as for a unit itself, if you have you know, some good 4-star base or 5-star base units, you might not find a place for her in your party. Now, for units that are not usually like fitting in the meta, their TMRs are usually something you want to look at as a reason to pull or not pull that unit. Now, because she is in the banner though, so most likely you will get a couple of her. As a 3-star, they drop more often. So Ice Headband, 15% HP, 15% MP, and then Spirit 10%. Now, I actually think this TMR might actually be really good for someone like CG Nichol, which again we'll get to. CG Nichol needs tons of MP and Spirit and HP, which this Ice Headband might be something that's really good for him. His own Trust Mastery, CG Nichol, is not an accessory, so maybe even having 2 of these accessories, if you're a budget player, might be really good. Merald is our second 3-star new ally, this Cat with an Axe. Alright, Cat with an Axe has Thunder Axe Kuranos. Alright, I don't even know if I pronounced that right. Axes at the moment may not be used as much. There's less, let's say, chainers, which are probably the most often used physical damage dealers that can wield axe, and Onion Knight are like maybe one of the rare few. So for a future trial, someone like Omega, which you know, some of you guys on JP would know, he can only be damaged with lightning weapons or lightning magic, I believe, but I think he counters magic, so lightning physical attacks. And perhaps you have another lightning sword, but this axe might come in handy there. Alright, 120 attack, lightning elemental. Again, elemental weapons are always really good, so you can pair up chainers to get elemental chains going. Elbus is our 4-star, one of our 4-star base units. Swordsman says this is his job. He is definitely not that good as a unit. I take a look at his skills. There's some like imperils, there's some random attacks. Seems that he's a finisher if you want to use him as a DPS unit, but he doesn't really have much like tanking ability. So even though that this banner is featuring that, oh, he has high HP, he's not exactly a tank. He has some counters, but his counters aren't that special either. What would be good about him would be his Trust Master reward. If you were not here or you didn't get to pull Vargas from the Brave Frontier banner, I think his elemental fire large sword is 130 attack or 135. This is a 4-star base unit, and it gives you 125 great sword here with fire elemental. So the best fire great sword after Vargas would be Rain's Crimson Saber, which you can obtain from the unit trials specifically for Rain. That was a 90 attack, so this is a really big improvement. Most likely, because I'm going to be pulling for this banner. So most likely, if I get 1 or 2 of him, I'm definitely grinding his TMR for sure. So yes, now here is our Black Mage Lexa. Lexa is definitely one you want to keep. So a lot of trials lately, everybody's been using Barbarizia. If you were lucky enough to pull her, I didn't get her. Chaining with like Shantoto, right? So for a Tornado, she is our 4-star base Tornado caster. It doesn't say it here, but she does have dual black magic. All right, she has dual black magic, and then she has Tornado, and she has Eroja, Darkga, Gravaga, Blizzaga, Thundaga, and Eroga. So as her magic skills, she does have a buff that can buff 70% earth resistance AoE full party for 3 turns, and also can buff the entire team 40% all stats for 3 turns as well. So that's actually really good. She's like a little mini support unit, and she's really to use. She's not confusing at all. Like, her skill set is very easy. Some magic and spirit passives when equipped with a hat, rod and MP passives, or magic and MP passives when equipped with a rod. Her Trust Master Modish Witch is a 20% spirit and 40% magic when equipped with a rod. So this is like, depending on your build, this is like better than Williams. Right, so Williams is equipped with rod, 40% magic, 20% defense. Most likely, if you have a magic damage dealer, you want their spirit high as well. So again, Lexa is definitely one to keep, not just a TMR unit, she'll most likely be partnering with my Kid Rydia that I pulled last week for trials like Golem, 3-star Golem, which can be coming up really soon. Now this is the pie, man. This is the cake here. Cake here is Maritime Strategist Nichol. Job is Strategist. Now he is one of the best buffers, if not the best, arguably second best or third best in JP, but he has. Alright, so let's take here. Linked Stance is our featured ability. Linked Stance is you can cast specific abilities twice in 1 turn, and basically he can cast basically everything. All right, everything in a dual castable state here. So all the abilities listed, Soulful Stance, Impregnable Stance, all that can be dual castable with linked stance. All right, so let me go through this really quick. I've has his skill sets here, so just for people who don't know how good he is, he has basically if you run a buffer and you don't have like someone like Roy or other really good bards, maybe like a enhanced Lunera, you might be running a 4-star base like Soleil, which she does the job well. It's just that you do have to kind of cycle her skills back and forth to keep up her maximum buffs. Now CG Nichol, what he can do is he can do one turn, and he can get like really good buffs. All right, so basically here we go, we have Iron Stance. So all of this is dual castable. All right, all this is dual castable. Iron Stance is 110% defense AoE for 5 turns, guys, and then also fill 1 LB AoE. All right, Safeguard Stance is AoE 110% Spirit for 5 turns, fill LB 1. All right, so that in itself is really good. So all defensive, so Spirit and defense buffs, you get fill LB 1. Now when it's attacking, all right, so offensive buffs, Demonic Stance is 110% magic 5 turns, AoE increase LB fill rate for 150%. 150% for 5 turns. So imagine you dual cast, let's say Iron Stance, defense and attack. So the next one is Furious Stance, 110% attack, 5 turns, AoE, LB fill rate 150% as well. Alright, so all offensive, you get AoE LB fill rate. All defensive, you get fill 1 LB instantly. Imagine you do that for, let's say, any trial that maybe you need to buff up your magic attack and maybe buff up your spirit. So you get fill LB plus 1 and then LB fill rate. So any LB missions won't be too hard if you're running CG Nichol. Alright, and again, 110% instant buff, dual castable is really good. So almost any scenario, you're gonna be totally fine. He has a move called Sharp Kick. This is not dual castable, but it is a single target and removes all status effects from enemy. It's 180%, so 1.8 times critical hit physical attack modifier. The damage isn't what would be good, but it's more of the Despell aspect. So remove all status effects from enemy. In a pinch, let's say your healer needs to raise and heal and you don't have someone with Despell, and because you've buffed with CG Nichol 5-turn buffs, again that lasts really long, 5-turn buffs, and you have like all the buffs going in their cycles, you have a spare turn, you can use Sharp Kick. You can Despell the enemy. Let's say Entangle Ultimate, which again will come soon. He buffs himself like crazy. Find yourself in a pinch, and CG Nichol has this Despell, right? So he can also dual cast magic, right? So dual cast magic. So what kind of magic does he have? So at a 6-star, he has Waterga, Blizzaga, Blizzaja, and Waterja. So Waterja, Blizzaja, they're stackable. 200% magic attack, 100% stack max 5 times. So that is that end up with 700%, I guess. 700%, so 7 times modifier, which can be really good. And again, later on in 7-star, he actually becomes he has Flood, so he could become a magic chainer as well. He also has a magic restorative stance, so he is his own MP battery. All right, it's a 10 MP move, dual castable again. So you can slip that, either you dual cast it by itself, or you slip that with one of his buffs if you're running low on MP. It recovers AoE 40 MP, but that's including himself. So someone like CG Fina and her MP restore move, it restores like 50 or 52 MP. I think it's 50 MP AoE, but it doesn't restore her own, right? But it does have a refresh on that skill as well, so MP over time. But magic restorative stance is AoE instant 40 MP. I can't tell you, even right now, even in 7-star meta, where units are just like draining MP like crazy, when CG Nichol like just dual cast this, you're pretty much good to go. You're pretty much good to go. Other stances, Iceberg and Duality Stance. All right, Iceberg Stance is a 70% ice water resist for 3 turns, and I believe he actually has those passives as well, or actually that probably comes with his TMR, which we'll get to as well. So 70%, all right, 70% dual elemental resistance, and Duality Stance is 70% AOE light and dark resist for 3 turns. So if you're running, you know, if you don't have a support and you are on a trial where one of these elements are used, again, he becomes very, very useful. Lone Stance is 130% attack, defense, magic, and spirit for 5 turns, but it's single target. So 130% buff is really good, obviously, but it is only single target. So maybe you want this on your finisher there, and yeah. So Courageous Stance, this is where it kind of gets interesting. Fortune Stance and Courageous Stance are our 2 next moves here. 130% attack and magic, AOE for 2 turns, but then you debuff yourself. AOE, 65% defense and spirit for 2 turns to all allies, and then but has an AOE 120 MP heal over 2 turns. So it could be good. What I think it might be useful is that if you are on your, let's say, your kill shot, right? You can you know you can 1-turn KO this trial or something. Maybe you want to use this 130%. You get an extra 20% more attack and magic for 2 turns, and you know that you won't get hit for the next turn. Or let's say you know that the trial enemy can only do physical damage or something like that. Maybe you have a full evade tank, so you know debuffing yourself 65% is not a loss. So a lot of really interesting ways to use CG Nichol. Fortune Stance is the opposite, 130% defense and spirit for 2 turns, AOE again, but also debuffs your attack and magic for 2 turns to all allies. AOE, but it's AOE 4000 heal with a 10 times mod for 2 turns. So that's a lot. It's quite a lot. So if you're in a pinch, yeah, you're in a pinch and you need to survive, all right, you use Fortune Stance. You buff up defense and spirit for 2 turns. Yes, your attack and magic goes down, but maybe it's a turn that you need to refresh, you need to re-raise, and maybe you could have a Dispelga trick. You can Dispelga it in the next turn if you don't want your debuffs, but you get a 4000 HP heal with a 10 times mod for 2 turns. That means a lot of healing over time if your CG Nichol has very high spirit and secondary magic. And so he also has Impregnable Stance, alright? 30% damage reduction for 3 turns. It's a global damage mitigation, so that means it stacks with physical or magic damage mitigation. So someone like, if you have a White Knight Noel as your tank, he can buff himself up with, I think it's 50% physical and magical damage mitigation, plus 150% spirit, defense, and magic buff to himself. And so basically, if you have a provoke tank like that, you can stack Impregnable Stance with him, and then you can run something like Courageous Stance, which buffs attack and magic for your chainers or your damage dealers, and your White Knight Noel or maybe Wilhelm will just be laughing at the damage taken to him. So again, because global damage mitigation stacks with physical and magical damage mitigation, for someone like White Knight Noel, you just have a 50% plus another 30%. It does not equal 80%, but it mitigates on top of the damage dealt to him post physical and magical damage mitigation. So you get an additional 30% damage mitigation from the result of that. Very lastly, Soulful Stance. AOE 100%, all stats buff for 2 turns, AOE heal, HP 3000 with a 9 times mod for 2 turns. There is no debuff on this, and as you can see, it's a 100% buff only, but it has a 3000 HP heal. So maybe you want to run this after you run your good buffs, if you're in a pinch for like a secondary healer. Again, I think with CG Nichol, for most trials, you might not even need to run a healer. You might not need to. if you know his skill sets very well. But this Soulful Stance does cost a hefty amount of MP, 109 MP, so you gotta be very careful. As you can see on the banner here, Nichol has the MP highlighted. It is not just because he does have good MP passives, but rather he needs a lot of MP. Passive abilities, 30% MP right off the bat, 30% spirit plus 20% MP when equipped with a robe, so make sure you take advantage of his passives. 30% magic when equipped with a rod, that's if you want to use him as a mage. Alright, just a somewhat like a secondary mage, maybe as a finisher to finish off a magic damage mission, right? Kill X boss with magic damage, maybe you want to use that. But he has no passive with like a staff equipped. So other than like maybe Holy Wand with its innate spirit stats, maybe you want to run a rod with him. I don't know. On JP, I kind of dual wield him. I dual wield him with a rod and a really good spirit-based staff. So maybe that's something you can consider as well. He has Calm Awareness. These are all passives. 100% resist to Petrify, Sleep, and Poison. So Petrify resistance, very, very important. He doesn't have Paralysis resistance, but that's easily mitigated with accessories and whatnot. He has Water God's Grace, recover 5% MP per turn, plus 30% water resist. So yes, he does have water resist innate, I remember that. Enlightened Guard is, he can counter magical attacks with Enlightened Guard. It's an AoE, 40% all element resist in 2 turns. So yes, someone hits you guys with magic, and let's say you don't have a magic tank. Nichol accepts the damage. He can counter 40% all elements for 2 turns. That's almost as good as Marie. So again, that really makes all supporters kind of, you know, benched. Once you have CG Nichol, he's gonna be really crazy, right? Now, LB. Let's finish off the LB and then we'll talk about his TMR. LB Ancient Formula at level 1, 6-star. Level 1, it's a AoE 110% buffs, alright? For all stats. So that already beats his best buff pretty much for 3 turns, and then AoE remove all stat debuff. Oh man, it's crazy. And then 20% heal, 20% MP recover. All right, and then if you max that, level 25 Ancient Formula, it becomes 134% attack, defense, magic, and spirit buff for 3 turns. Again, AoE remove the debuff, that isn't increased, and the HP and MP heal or recover is not increased as well, but the buff becomes 134%. Now imagine you already run Iron Stance and Demonic Stance. He has his LB fill rate up and his LB gauge boosted as well. It's not too difficult to get his LB. So you want to basically run that in the cycle or use that strategically. Haha, strategically, pun intended. Wah, wah. Alright, he also has a TMR Strategic Cape. As you can see, 40 defense, 52 magic, and in Spirit 38, 20% MP, Ice Water resists by 50%. It's a robe, so it will work really well with him with his already passive water resist. That gives him what, 80%? I think 80%. This is really good. His TMR may not be the most meta breaking. It's not the best in spirit, it's not the best in defense, it's not the best in MP, it's not the best in magic. But because it has all of this combined together, I find that it has perfect harmony, and especially if you're running with CG Nichol or another buffer, it definitely comes in handy. So again, if you're building up your CG Nichol, build Spirit, HP. Maybe HP is not that important if you have your tanks doing their jobs, but Spirit and MP, I would say those are probably the 2 biggest things you want for him. And other than that, you're good to go. He should be easy to gear, alright? So the point is not that he's expensive to gear. You don't even need to really gear him, and he can change the game for you. So yes, that was a super long description of just the banner. As you can see, that is how excited I am for this unit. So you will expect me pulling this on Friday. As always with our CG unit, we get a story event where destinies intersect. Alright, so new story event coming. This is gonna be parallel with our King's Knight Return raid event, plus our King Mog event with FF4 units, Kid Rydia, and Helmetless Kane, or Atoning Kane, or something like that. Here's some limited equipment, as usual. You can get some free equipment if you're new, and this is gonna be good. Aurora, wind damage to all enemies. 82 magic is very good for starters, and it's wind elemental. So wind elemental means that if you hit it physical attack, it's also a wind move. That might be useful for, let's say, objectives or missions that say do wind damage but no magic, and you want to do it in one go. Then you whack someone with this rod and you've done your wind elemental damage without using magic. Merald's Belt, 20% MP, 5% attack and magic, plus 5 defense and spirit. Again, if you don't have much MP gear, 20% MP is no small fry. It's no joke. So it's definitely good. You can get that. Put it on your CG Nichol if you're new, if you don't have better MP gear. So yes, have fun with this story event. To round off our week of Final Fantasy IV Crystal Chamber Battle with Kain. This video is on YouTube. JP guys have taken this down already. He's not vulnerable to breaks, but Man-Eater can still prove effective, Kupo. So Man-Eater can still prove effective. Is that a hint that he's difficult? I'm not quite sure. I never looked at the JP videos, and when I played JP, this event was long gone. So I'm not quite sure what to expect. All we know is Man-Eater is effective. If you were lucky enough to pull Sephiroth, I would recommend probably Elemental Chaining, whatever he's weak to, with Sephiroth, because Sephiroth has Man-Eater innate. And you can also use more Man-Eater TMRs. So for me, I think I'm just gonna go with Sephiroth here. That's for myself. Depending on what he does, magic or physical attacks, just run a tank cover and maybe a healer. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's what I thought. So party 5 or less is definitely in there. So I pretty much already know what my party would be. Most likely Bosch, some healer. Let's see, kill him with a limit burst. So CG Nichol would be useful. I'll probably pull CG Nichol first and then run this trial. 5% Trust Mughal, completing the quest. 10,000 Pink Tails, defeat Kain with a limit burst. No items, dark resistance plus 20. Keep these guys, keep these resistance ones. 20% is very good. Party of 5 or less, you get mental clarity, boost attack and spirit by 20%, and nullify confusion. I would say the confusion nullification is probably the most important, but again, if you're new, attack and spirit plus 20 is very good as well. Farplane Chamber of Arms, a new foe awaits. Alright, a warrior of the warrior of bravery and pride, Tagmean, or Tagmine? I don't know how you want to pronounce it. Tagmean sounds like more like a name to me. Tagmine, I don't know, sounds like 2 words put together. You get this hammer. I think it's the strongest hammer in game, if I remember correctly. Legendary weapons. Never taken them on again in JP. If you guys are following me in JP, just fun notes. Do these Muffin Man translations. Anyways, it's a very foolish lore thing, but yeah, long story short, let's take a look at the weapons here. So Thor's hammer is what you actually want to go for. So there's always an easy and a hard mode. Easy, you always get a replica, all right? Some Chinese knockoff. Don't buy, all right? Thor's hammer, but if you complete it on hard, enables Thor's rage when equipped. So deal unmitigated lightning damage to one enemy. Might not be that strong, but 145 attack. Hammer could be really good, so definitely check him out. I don't know if I'm gonna take him on right away. I'm usually like delayed in my 10-man trials, but if global becomes too boring again for me, I might try taking him on early. Deal ice, lightning, wind, and earth damage to summon tickets. Defeat Tagmean with a limit burst. You get 10% Trust Mughal, and let's see. Defeat Tagmean within 30 turns. You get Equip Helm. Can equip helms. Did we never have that before? I guess not. I guess we didn't. But yes, defeat within 30 turns, you get a ability, equip helmet. Is this useful? I don't know. I would say out of the current available Chamber of Arms, Elnath, Alhina, and Sheraton, he probably has the items that I can't see that is beneficial for players at the moment, at least at the moment. Yeah, anyways, yeah, so let's see here. Yeah, 10-man trials, as you guys know, no duplicates. You run 10 of your own units, also no friend units, and you can swap them around if they're knocked out, if they're KO'd. You gotta revive them before you swap them out, or if you swap them out, you can never swap them back in. So those of you who are new, don't know what Man-at-Arms or Chamber of Arms is, or 10-man trials are, that's basically it. And it's basically each trial gives you a legendary weapon. Alright guys, so good luck on this, and yeah, probably gonna hear a lot on Discord about people, yeah, I beat it, or a lot of discussion happening this week for sure. Unit intro quest, Maritime Strategist Nichol. If you are not yet convinced why you should be pulling for him, use him here, and you'll be convinced, alright? Even though you are fighting a little Cactuar, that might not prove to be too effective, but hey man, CG animations. CG animations, man. That's a good enough reason to pull, right? Just kidding. Best offense and good defense, ancient formula. Done. This is the LB I was so raving about, man. Complete it, you get your ticket. So obviously run this, guys. Use Soulful Stance, 3 magic smart pots, and then use Sharp Kick, 1 star quartz. So yes, definitely do this. Enjoy, and I'm gonna expect you guys to be pulling for him. Alright, can expect you guys to be pulling for him. Again, if you will, definitely leave a comment wherever. I'll definitely congratulate you. Ability Awakening update. So we already knew that this was coming. Second week of our King's Night event. I'm not gonna get too much into it. Basically, Rayjack was broken because he had a high chance to cover 1 unit, and he's not a tank. He's supposed to be a DPS. And that made him broke. So look at that. So stuff of legend. So you boost stuff, and you get sword mastery. Now this is what I want to talk about. Order of the Blue Ring, wing. So boost damage reduction, 50% chance to take damage, 50% mitigation, but you have a high chance to actually take the physical damage. So it's 50%. That's really high. And but then you have to like actually awaken it, right? That's the thing that is kind of broken about this. It's kind of reverse, all right? Usually you awaken to enhance, and yes, this is an enhancement because you can lower it all the way to 5% chance of taking physical damage. But as Ku just said on my Discord channel, he said 5% chance is still 5% chance. So it's almost as if these enhancements was to fix something that was broken. So they should have just came out with global exclusive changes or something like that. Anyways, I'm not gonna talk too much about this, as I probably can't talk too much about it, as in I don't even have them leveled up. If you guys are using these units, good for you. You must really like King's Night. From my understanding, they're not meta breaking. Baruza might be an interesting one though. I was taking a look at his kit before. He can provoke like physical attacks, but then he can also give magic damage mitigation. So it really made me think, Baruza, if you make him a full evade provoke tank, and you have someone like Bosch or Chow, or a magic cover tank like Shield and Mystia covering magic, Baruza could provoke and then cast magic damage mitigation, single target, I remember, single target on the magic tank. That gives him somewhat a supportive aspect to his tanking abilities if you have to run dual tanks for trials that require physical, single target physical attack and AoE magic. So yes, that is probably the only thing I'm going to talk about for this ability awakening. We do know that I think next week or next week we have Final Fantasy 12 ability awakening. This is gonna be either good or bad news because Zargabath is technically a buffer. Like, he's a support unit. Maybe his enhancements, and he's gonna be part of the enhancement batch, maybe his enhancements are as good as CG Nichol, better than CG Nichol, or maybe worse than CG Nichol. From a game development point of view, I can see the reason to keep Nichol as still top tier buffer, but I can also see if they're gonna bring Zargaboth enhancements after CG Nichol's banner, his enhancements could be good. Now we know that JP doesn't have Zargaboth, it's a global exclusive unit, so his enhancements, we have no idea. So I'm actually kind of scared, and I'm kind of excited at the same time. Do we have a competition with CG Nichol? If you're not fortunate enough to pull CG Nichol, would you get, you know, if you have Zargaboth, would you enhance him? I have Zargaboth as well, so we'll see what his ability awakening is like. But that is it for this. New units to awaken. Chari goes to 6-star. Again, she is featured on the banner. I said her Trust Master is good. I'm not quite sure how good she is at her 6-star. I've never really looked into it. If you guys are interested in it, definitely check it out. I'm not quite sure if it's worth the awakening. Never heard that she's a meta-breaking 3-star unit that becomes 6-star like Camille or even some other unit. So yes, one new unit to awaken. So that is it, guys. It has been about 30 minutes. Are you going to be pulling on this banner? My expectations are yes, I'm going to be pulling. I think I only ran across one person that said, no, I'm not interested in CG Nichol. Maybe two, including Panda, my Discord mod. He wants to pull Rydia still. Right? Get on the hype train, bro. CG Nichol, man. It's all about CG Nichol. Again, a lot of incentives to pull on this. Good banner units, good 4-star Lexa. Alright? Tornado user Mage. Mughals that come with each pull. So there is absolutely no reason for you to even want to tickle this banner with tickets. Alright, tickets. Again, I have a lot of Lapis ready. I have a lot of tickets ready just for this day. Hopefully I can pull him really early on. And I know that in the past week, the FF4 Rydia and Kayn banner, there's been a lot of comments on YouTube about the horrible rates. Like some people spent like what, like 20,000 Lapis, 60 tickets or something like that, and it returns with no rainbow, or like a mercenary, or like a Ramza, regular Ramza, or like a regular Delita. All right, and then people who poured their heart out for, like, let's say Kid Rydia ended up getting Kayn. So I don't know, man. I got a lot of salt on my pull video for that one because I pulled Rydia on the 4th ticket. But anyways, if you guys haven't seen that pull, it could be salty and you could be happy for me. I don't know. It could be mixed feelings. Hope I get that kind of luck for this banner as well. But we'll see on Friday, and hope you guys enjoyed this news session. Hopefully it was informative and will help guide you in your decision of whether or not to be pulling on this banner. Like I said, if it's like a banner review, banner rating, this beats CG Lids. CG Lid, I rated a 5 out of 10. I'd rate this a 10 out of 10, a definite pull for this one. So if you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server, join in the discussion. It's tons of speculation and theories. It's really fun to talk to the guys about this. If you have Twitter, follow me on Twitter and subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, I thank you guys for taking your precious time to watch my videos and to even think that I have good information to share. Most of the time I don't do my research, so I am very humbled by that, you guys. Thanks so much. I'll see you guys next time.